It's time to join Montana's very own and your voice for agriculture, Talkin' Ag Lane Nordland, for today's Lanecast.
Hey everyone, it's time for the Lanecast Ag Podcast in a different studio here today with our Livestock Market Edition for the week ending February 14th. I was thinking of the day, it was Valentine's Day 2025. And I should mention today's program brought to you by our friends at Herd Watch, join over 22,000 ranchers who know ranching is tough and that keeping track of your herd shouldn't be. That's where Herd Watch comes in, because with Herd Watch you can manage your cattle, records, treatments, calving, whatever it might be, all from your phone, even offline. It's fast, simple, and built for ranchers just like you. Join thousands of producers who trust Herd Watch to save time and make smarter decisions. Ready to take control? Download the Herd Watch app today and see the difference. Again, Herd Watch, simplifying livestock. Their information can be found in the description below. Now, as we look to the livestock complex from this past week, it really faced another tough week, especially on Friday, where contracts slid below, closing the 40-day moving average, below that 40-day moving average, especially in that April contract. This signals potential technical resistance this coming week. February live cattle were down $1.80 at $197 3/4. April down at $194.25. The June contracts down nearly $2 at $190.45. Now, the cash cattle trade was really the factor for that live and feeder cattle trade this week. The cash trends were weaker, with southern live cattle coming in $3 to $4 lower at $202 to $203. Northern dress deals $5 to $7 lower, marked at $320 to $322. Now, looking to weekly slaughter estimates, they were down 23,000 head from last week at 561,000. As for those feeder cattle futures, with the March closing down $1.62, they finished the week at $266.35. April down $1.55 at $266.42. Now, before we get to these local livestock markets, let's check out the box beef prices, which were also lower by $2.70 on choice at $314.70. Select cuts down $2.70 at $307.14. As for this coming week, the cash cattle call could be expected to see a steady to lower trend, according to our friends at DTN, as packers remain cautious in their purchases. And of course, they got to drive that market down a little bit this past week. Now, let's look to those local livestock markets here quickly, because it's cold. I can't even talk. It's cold here in central Montana. For those of you listening, I'm actually standing out in the feed grounds here in central Montana, and it is a bit cold and it's snowing, and we're going to get a few inches of snow, no doubt. But let's look to the trend at the Billings Livestock Commission. Over 1,800 head of cattle sold this past Thursday. Feeder cattle prices were mostly higher, with steers over 650 pounds selling $5 higher, and heifers, they gained $10 to $20 more on a very attractive offering. Demand was good to very good, and market activity was very strong. Slaughter cows also steady to firm, with packers showing strong demand. Slaughter bulls also saw higher undertones on limited offerings. So as you can see, those prices there across the board for Billings livestock. If you're listening, I forgot to write those ones down. I have the other local prices there that I will be sharing. As for feeder cattle prices, with this past week's Superior Livestock video auction, it showed a steady to lower trend, with 29,000 plus head selling. Feeder steers were steady to $3 lower, while feeder heifers were about $4 to $8 lower on the Superior video. Light flesh cattle for good grass maintained good demand, and also we did see some of those prices consolidate a bit, but steers from the central region saw 555 weight steers priced at $316, 9 1/4 weights $246, and 740 pound steers bringing a price of $270. Heifers brought a price of heifers weighing 565 pounds brought a price of $301, 750 weights seeing a price of $265. Value-added heifers weighing 700 pounds brought $255. Now, also, we saw a total of over 3,200 head of feeder cattle sold at the sale in Torrington this past week. The steers were $5 to $12 lower compared to the previous week, except for 600-pound heifers, which remain mostly steady. Buyers focused on flesh and condition, while CME futures appeared to limit demand as well. The sale also featured a few load lots, but were primarily package trade. Steers weighing 4.5 to 500 pounds, priced at $382 to $405, with the 5 to 5.5 weights $365 up to $373, 6 to 6.5 weights $324 to $332. Heifers were priced 4 to 4.5 weights $345 to $350, 4.5 to 5 weights $335 to $352, 5.5 to 6 weights $315 to $328. And again, that's a quick look at those markets here today. If you were watching the podcast, which you can on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube, you saw those prices there for the Billings Livestock Commission. I didn't have them written down here on my cheat sheet, but if you're listening, sorry about that, but make sure to watch next time as well. Again, a quick Livestock Market Edition for those of you that tuned in last week watching the market realities of 2025 with Don Close at Torrington. Thanks for doing that. A very popular show. If you didn't check that out, I encourage you to go find that show here today. A lot of very helpful insights on 2025, what herd rebuilding may or may not look like, and of course, how dairy and 2 new cheese factories could impact herd rebuilding on the dairy end, impacting, of course, beef cattle. Very insightful conversation. We've had a lot of great feedback on that. A lot of questions, maybe some skepticism, but overall, a pretty good conversation that I had with Terrain's Don Close. But again, thank you to our friends at Herd Watch for sponsoring today's content. It's calving season, or if you're getting ready to calve, you can use Herd Watch as your calving book. I'm going to still put pen to paper, but we're going to put it into the Herd Watch app as well. Check them out here today. That's going to do it for the Livestock Market Edition of the Lanecast Ag Podcast. Stay warm out there, friends. If you're in cold country, and if you're in nice warm country, enjoy it. That'll do it for today. I'm Lane Nordland. We'll catch you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to the Lanecast with Talkin' Ag, Lane Nordland. Don't forget to subscribe to the Lanecast on your Apple or Android devices. We look forward to joining you next time on the Lanecast.